They did lock it, didn't
Yeah, but that gets gone.
they? They put the fence up, Jamie.
Yeah,
Huh? But they're supposed to cover that shaft.
So what is this in front of us?
That's the same thing we standing on right there. That's how deep it is.
Wow.
They were ordered to do this in court, so somebody has done it.
And how long has this one been abandoned? Same thing?
Yeah. Yeah, this is
5, 6 years?
Pinnacle. When they went bankrupt, all this was gone. They just come up here and done all this. But see them 3 pipes coming out?
Yeah.
Somebody back in April of last year was pumping water out of that shaft.
So pumping contaminated water out of that shaft and then doing what with it?
They was putting it in that pipe right here, and it was going around, going into that pond that we just left. But they tried to say, the DP tried to tell people that was conduit. That ain't conduit. See that pipe right there?
Uh-huh.
They had these pipes run right into that pipe, and they was pumping that damn shit down there to get that water out of that mines. Now, why they were doing it, I don't know.
Did that pond then go into?
Well, it went into the creek.
Creek, yeah.
That,
you see that
pipe? It goes all the way down around that hill and goes where we were just left from.
Wow.
And
so they're dumping the contaminated water into the pipe down to the pond.
Somebody was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down to through the pipe to the pond, then it goes from the pond to the creek.
Pond to the creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't filtered the way it's supposed to be. We know somebody done it because some boys that mushroom hunting here said it wasn't in there. Was in April of last year when they started doing it, and then a boy tipped us off saying they ain't worried about that autism. Well, they was afraid somebody'd find out what was going on up here. We come up here, we found all these pipes.
And let me.
Yeah. The whole time somebody was pumping that out and putting it in there.
And how are they supposed to do it? To the
Well, they ain't supposed to be pumping nothing out of that mines.
Right, right.
You know. But like I said, they're just doing whatever they want to do. You know, it's all abandoned.
So basically, it's a poor neighborhood, poor community. Dump that water out, and
Well, I mean,
if the people get sick, so be it. That's what it seems like's going on.
well, I mean, it's self-explanatory. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody in the community knows what's going on now, because me and Jamie's worked on this for a year, and you know, we just find stuff every day.
And are they pumping that water out of there so that they could continue mining down there?
I have no idea why they'd be doing it, to be honest with you.
Right.
But now they hadn't done it since we caught them. But the DEP come up here. We sent them up here. They come up here and see them pipes. Now, you ask any coal miner why them pipes will be down in that shaft, and they'll tell you there's only one reason. They were pumping water out of it. But they told the public that it was conduit, electrical conduit. That's pipe.
Right.
I mean,
Well, only reason I could think of that you're pumping water out there is so you could go down there.
well, or they're already down there.
Right.
They're mining somewhere they ain't supposed to be.
Yeah, which is
Well, I mean,
illegal.
Well,
Mining without license.
like I said, my theory was that instead of putting them $1 million pump stations in that they said they were going to put in, they're getting it pumped in the creek for free now. And why not just add to it? You know, nobody comes up here. They can lock the gate down here. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Now, I don't know what they were doing, but it'll come out. As the men starts quitting and all that, they'll start talking like they're doing now, and it'll start coming out.
So this was Pinnacle, right?
This was Pinnacle.
They've been bankrupt for about 5, 6 years?
Since 17.
So essentially you got Bluestone.
Now, Bluestone bought it all.
Okay.
The governor bought it all. There were 7 permits. He bought 4. The other 3 nobody wanted. But then he got permit blocked. They won't release the permits to him. So he technically hasn't done anything in here.
They won't release the permits to him because he owes hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah.
Fines.
Yeah.
I mean, they said in court that he probably would never get another permit. But, you know,
So technically we don't really know who's doing what here.
that's exactly right.
Could be the governor's company, Bluestone. Could be another company, Alpha.
Could be.
Yeah.
And then you got another mines back here, which I don't think it's them. They're just, it's wild, wild west when it comes to the coal industry back here now, because the DEP has screwed up so much on giving out permits they wasn't supposed to give out. And the people that give them out back in 16, 17, and 18 is getting caught up in having to investigate it now. And they're just turning the other cheek.
And is there any, I don't know, transparency laws around here that the state environmental department tells the mines if you are discharging water into local waterways, you need to inform the public? How does the public know what they're doing?
They don't. They don't.
It's a problem.
And the only way I found out that a pond was leaking, and it was one of the governor's ponds, leaking into the Pinnacle Creek that comes down and goes into the water source in the Pineville, was I happened to be looking through the DEP website looking for some stuff, and I just run up on it. I'm like, oh my God, this was in October of last year. Nobody even knew it. I mean, you think they would notify I think the water company knew it, but they didn't even notify the public. You think they would notify the public, but they didn't.
And most people are not looking on DEP's site.
No,
most people are just...
no, because you got to have the password and all that.
Yeah.
And no, I would say I'm probably the only one in the county, me and another person, using the DEP website to go through to make sure where the violations are, to make sure these people are doing what they're supposed to do. But once again, I found the same usual suspects on all of it.
And also, the Attorney General, what's his name again?
Patrick Morsi,
who's running for governor now. His claim to fame is he's trying to loosen regulations.
Well, that's what I'm upset about with him.
So you already got regulations they're not following.
Right, and he wants to relax them more, know. Well, he needs to come down here and cook him some food out of that artesian well, because it must be good enough for him if he's going to let other people do it. And if not, then he needs to quit doing that stuff and get behind this community. We've not heard from him. We've not heard from Shelley Moore Capito. Now, I've heard from her son that's running, I think, against Morsi for governor. He did send some water down here, him and our delegate Adam Vance.
How kind of him to send water.
Well,
how kind of the senator.
Yeah, well.
She's a senator of West Virginia.
No, her son
I
did.
know that, but
yeah.
Obviously she's not doing anything.
But Carol Miller, you got to go through hoops to try to even talk to her office. It's ridiculous.
And Carol Miller is the congressperson?
She is the one, that Wesley Holden is running against. And I've never endorsed anybody for any kind of seat except Adam this time, and he's running unopposed. But this Wesley Holden guy, I wish people would really look at him. He's an independent. He worked for Rockefeller for years. He'd come down here, and he stayed 2 days, and we showed him around. And
what about Mr. Manchin?
I think he's not even going to run, so he could care less about what's going on.
Well, this happened over this. The original contamination happened over a year ago, so he.
Oh, it's on his watch. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Has he answered any of your outreach?
No.
Huh.
No.
Guess he'll only answer if you drive a Maserati, or.
I don't know him personally, so I don't know. But like I said, all the politicians stays away from this area because the mines funds a lot of them.
Well, I was going to ask.
Why would you mess with your funding? You know what I mean?
I was going to ask common sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's something called a conflict of interest. The governor owns the coal empire.
Mm-hmm.
Manchin owns coal companies. Shelley Moore, she's got connections to the coal industry as well, correct?
Well, I'm sure she does. I mean,
so most of West Virginia's highest ranked members, the governor, the senators, are in the coal industry, they're not going to want to do much about this because it might cost them money personally.
Not only that, it looks to me like they've put people in positions under them to help them cover all that stuff up.
Right.
There's a guy right now, he's been on the mining board. He's the director of the mining board. That means he's like the judge and jury. He's been on it since 2007. Well, he actually worked for Alpha in 2013 and 12 and 13 and 14 as a senior vice president of operations. He shouldn't even be allowed to be on the board. And then we got guys that left the DEP that's working for the Fed office that will come out here. When we wasn't satisfied with the DEP's inspection, we had to do a 10-day thing, which our environmental scientists helped us with. They brought the feds in. Well, the guy that's running the Fed office I got his signature on a lot of this stuff down here. So, I mean, they got to see the way we go, but we're just hoping you guys get it to the national news and we can get maybe the Attorney General for the United States to come down here and take a look at what's going on.
Let me ask you nationally. I know this is Trump country. I'm not getting into politics, but bottom line, Trump obviously, when he was president, he put, I guess, a chemical company owner in charge of the EPA, and he was all about deregulating. But Biden's the president now. It seems to me, whether it's Democrats, Republican, the EPA, all this stuff is happening in the federal EPA. Seems, well, I could tell you in Flint and many other places, they kind of I think intentionally tie their hands behind their backs and say we can't do anything.
They do. And like I said, people don't like you talking bad about Trump. I went to both his rallies, but now his administration did lift a lot of regulations to put coal slurry down in the mines.
To put coal what?
Coal slurry.
What's that?
That's when you got there's a big lake back here. It's full of nothing but coal slurry where they wash the coal and stuff, and they just put it in a big pond. It looks like a lake. Well, they pumped it down into the mines, an old abandoned mines. As soon as that artesian well started happening, February of last year, in March, Alpha filed for a permit to fill up a mines right beside it with coal slurry. Now, as far as I know, that's still on hold, but we hope they don't get it, because can you imagine if something happens, something washes out somewhere, it's going to come out of that artesian well and it's going to make things 50 times to 100 times worse. Hopefully the DEP's smart enough not to let them do that.
Right.
That's one thing that has to be changed. They got to quit putting this stuff down in the ground, because what goes down in the ground when it fills up starts coming back out. And this is what's happening now in the area. Yeah, see, the water was up over this bridge the other day.
Wow. Yeah, that don't look good.
No. Ain't nothing good about this water, man.
No, smells like shit too.
It's clear.
Right there's that foam, see it? It's gonna foam up right there. Yep. I told you.
That ain't natural.
Nope.
You all, huh?
Looky here, Jamie.
Yeah.
God, look at this mess.
So that's just coming from the ground.
Yep.
No, they're not.
They ain't gonna be able to stop all this. They ain't gonna be able to stop this, man, I'm telling you.
So that...
Whose land is this, Jamie?
It's
Bluestone, because our phone's out over there.
So this is stinks to the high heavens, smelly, like rotten eggs with an extra punch.
Yeah.
And see those kind of white splotches?
Right there is the stringy stuff. See it? It's
And
coming right out from under there.
It's coming right from the groundwater there. By Jamie's house, it smells this bad when it's kind of cold, but when it's hot, it's 10 times worse.
I wouldn't even want to be around this one. This stinks high heaven.
And it's getting him, his wife, some others around there sick.
It's running right to the creek.
Yeah. Bluestone Mining, which is Governor Jim Justice's company.
Mm-hmm. Well, in his defense, he can't do nothing because he can't get the permits.
That's right.
Look at that.
And what did the
That's a different color right there than I've ever seen.
And what did the
That's green.
what did the
Look at
Virginia
that.
Tech biologist tell you was?
You don't know.
Something was living. The white stuff was living organism. Yeah, that's green. I ain't never seen that color before, Jay. I got test bottles. I got that they're in my truck. It's got that acid in it. We can test that.
See that? Ooh.
Now that's the color we ain't seen. Green.
Ooh.
Have we, Jamie? I ain't never seen the green color.
Yeah, that's green. You see that
Yep.
right there, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
So you got white stuff that looks like a organism of some kind,
I didn't think it'd be this bad. You, Jamie?
and green. And this runs right down into Indian Creek.
Right over there's Indian Creek. Huh? Yeah.
I mean, it ain't, but
It don't smell like paint, but it looks like paint. Oh. It looks like that stuff out at Chris Bailey's. It was in the creek. See if you can find Chris Bailey's
And
video.
you can see it right there, John.
Yeah.
In the middle there.
I didn't put all mine in archive. See, it's growing on that rock.
We want video. Okay.
Of Chris Bailey's creek. I'm telling you, this was in the creek down there, Indian Creek, Chris Bailey's. But it just, when they sealed the mines up and flooded it, it quit.
Come blow me.
Now the DEP can test that right there and tell you that water's okay.
Yeah, they did.
I guarantee you they'll tell you that water's okay.
And you know, I think also viewers should know, obviously when you think coal, you think West Virginia, but there's other states where coal is still industry, Kentucky, a couple others. My assumption is, you know, maybe not the exact same thing, but there's stuff like this possibly going on elsewhere where to cut corners or lax regulations or not enforcement of regulations.
Right. Well,
they're dumping dirty coal water.
my saying is coal companies mess up. They screw up all the time. They're in it for money. It's the people that's supposed to protect us is not doing it. Like I said, the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, the EPA, they just act like they come out here and they look around and they're just dumbfounded. They don't know what to do. You know, they're using a geologist who's not licensed. And she's been signing off on everything since 2017. And I hate to be a dead
not
horse.
licensed.
She is a not licensed geologist. And that's a fact. But I'm not saying she might not be qualified, but you know, when you should be licensed, you should know what you're talking about. And like I said, I got documentation where she told certain mines in this area back in 17 to be wise of the aquifers in the area. And now we see what happened.
Right.
You know, but coal's king. It's a dictator. You know, I mean, the king is a dictator and they dictate what goes on around here. But the community, I think, is wised up enough when they see their family members dying, people getting sick, and you finally got some people to stand up to them and say, wait a minute, this ain't right. We got to change this, you know?
Well, coal could be king, but there's ways to safely
right.
remove contaminated water without dumping it in ponds, creeks that are people's drinking and bathing water.
Right.
They don't want to do that, it seems, because maybe it costs more money to do that.
Well, I have documentation where Alpha was going to put pump stations in 4 different places down through here to get this water out of the mines or whatever they were going to do. That would probably cost them millions of dollars. But it seems like it's getting pumped out down there at the Artesian Well, put in the creek for free. That aggravates me. Now, you can't blame the coal miners because they're underground. They don't know where they're at, but their bosses do, and they know exactly what's going on. So like I said, as there's no mines in this area in the last 15 years, it's probably lasted no more than 2 or 3 years. They come in here, they take what they want, they leave. They sell it off to a little coal company. They file bankruptcy. We're left with taxpayers are left with the mess. That's a loophole they have found, you know, and the legislature needs to change all that. But they won't even take it up. You know, they won't take it up. But that's why I always try to tell everybody that I've talked to, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but please get to know who you're voting for. Just because you see the name and he's been here for decades, I know Manchin. Manchin, you know, he might have been a good senator at one time, but he's leaving office now. You know, quit just looking at the name. Get to know these people. Get to find out what they're about. Like the Wesley Holden guy. I probably figured I wouldn't even have liked him if I hadn't met him, but he was an outstanding older fella. He was a he's a veteran, and he knows what's going on here. He worked in the Rockefeller administration. He knows what needs to be changed. Now, whether it get changed if he wins, but at least he's willing to talk about it. And he's the only one, him and Adam Vance, that I found that will talk about these issues. The rest of them stays away. Mm-hmm. They don't want no part of this.
And to be clear, residents all over the county are getting sick now.
Yeah, and they're fed up with it. And I think that, with the nurse coming out saying that, wait a minute, I've had all these symptoms. This is why I'm having these symptoms, you know, and we're working late hours now. And I think that people are starting to wake up and say, wait a minute, white stuff floating down the creek and foam is not good. You know, well running into a creek and the whole creek turning white and muddy, that's not good. No fish in the creek no more. We used to grow up. I got baptized right down there in that creek. I wouldn't even touch that water now.
Well, it's not just white stuff. I saw brown stuff yesterday.
Well,
I saw orange stuff, stuff that looks like it's got tentacles and is a living organism.
Right.
So there's multiple potential contaminants. And from what you showed me, the Department of Environmental Protection's only testing for a couple things.
Well, but like I said, in their defense, the legislature needs to change that. They only required to test for them, and they'll tell you, well, I mean, what we test for, that's what we test for. They sit across the desk and say, we stand by these results because this is all we're required to test for. Now, do I think they've changed that down here now? Yesterday, I think they're testing for a little bit more things. But once again, it's done got out of hand on them. You know, I don't even know how you could fix it. Unless you put running water down there, but that doesn't affect, I don't know how you're gonna fix the aquatic life.
Right.
They're all dead now.
Right.
There's no fish, you know. Mr. Christian's got a video where all the fish were dying. I just don't know how you're gonna fix it. You know, it's above my pay grade, but what I could do, like I did do, was bring it to the attention of the community and keep it out there because, man, 20 years from now, I hate to think what's gonna happen to the kids nowadays.
You're kind of running up against the environmental department, who is basically giving you a bunch of lip service, it sounds like.
Well,
maybe some care, but what has been the response? Because you've been working on this for over a year.
Well, now they got to where they wouldn't even talk to us, but I think come from higher up said, you know, get with these people because they're the ones. We were called bad apples, troublemakers, snakes in the grass, just because we didn't agree with what they were saying. And everything that we come out and said wound up being true. Right. You know, I pretty much told them yesterday what the white stuff was, what the foam was. I sent them my results because they don't seem to understand there's not supposed to be anything in the creek. Well, that's just foam. Yeah, don't worry about it. Well, no, it's not supposed to be there. Why is it there? Let's fix it, you know. And I think they would rather fight me than fight the coal industry and the gas industry. It's much easier on them if they fight me.
But it seems like you got a double whammy here where the coal industry might be breaching the aquifer, and you also have gas wells that might be leaking into the aquifer. So you have the aquifer is where people get their water from.
Exactly. And that's what the biologist from Virginia Tech said. I'm telling you, she was here half a day. She looked around and she said somebody broke the aquifer in here because all the creeks were dry. And DEP had been working on it for years and still couldn't come to that conclusion. And I told them that this is what the biologist said. And then I told them about me having the water tested, that it was arsenic was 388. Well, they wanted me to bring my guy in here and test right beside him. Well, no, you should have tested it to begin with. Right. You know, they're trying to find every way in the world to discredit us, you know, and save face, and they know for a fact what they did.
Well, meanwhile, for now, what are we, almost end of March? So for now, 14 months, people have been drinking and bathing and God knows what. They got rashes, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headaches, and you said recently a couple people just dropped dead.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, the mines hire somebody to come out there to test your water, but he never calls you and gives you the results. You never get a copy. I've talked to probably 30 people down Indian Creek that said, oh yeah, this guy come out a couple years ago and he worked for the True Line and he tested my water, but I said, well, did he call you back? No.
Well, with all due respect, you're going to trust the mines to test themselves?
Well,
I wouldn't trust the mines to be testing the water.
Well, if the water was good, they probably would have called you back.
Right.
I mean, you know, common sense.
But if the water is not good, they're knowingly endangering
deniability.
Right.
You know, but like I said, like I told everybody, call these people back, tell them you want your results. Probably ain't got them. I would be surprised if he had them.
Let me just ask you, I mean, you're born and bred, you were baptized there in the creek. This is a beautiful state. I mean, John and I were driving through and it's breathtaking. Mm-hmm. The mountains, the creeks. It could be so much better than this, but it seems that they're just sacrificing certain areas that, I mean, Wyoming County, the average income for an individual, I think, is about $25,000.
And I think the life expectancy is a lot lower in this area too. It's been that way for decades.
You think they're just kind of certain dots on the map?
I think the people in this community, in this county, in McDowell County, has been beaten down so much and been told they have to live this way that they don't know any other way to live. That's what I think. I think they're starting to figure it out, though. I really believe that. I really believe me showing them the results and proving that they put poison in your creek and deliberately done it and knew they were doing it. I think that woke a lot of people up in this area, you know.
Right.
I mean, even if it wasn't poison, by the DEP's laws, if it looks slimy, oily, or smells, you're not supposed to put it in state water. So they can't use the excuse they tested and it was okay. Just by their regulations, they were not supposed to put that in the creek. But now, will there be any accountability? Probably not, you know. I think they should be. I think some people should go to jail for what they did down here.
Yeah.
You know, but will they? Probably not.